Welcome, everybody, to a new episode of the Pondcast. My name is Draconis, and joining me today is Guren.
Hello.
And today we're bringing to you yet another rumor review. This one is going to be titled Venter Region. Now, before we start, I want to just make sure that everyone knows that treat everything that you hear on today's episode as a rumor and nothing more. Nothing is set in stone until it is released officially via Pokemon or through official outlets such as Cerebi.net. And with that, we're going to get into it. So this rumor I found on 4chan this week, and it caught my eye. It was interesting. It starts off by saying, hey, I just wanted to show you some information from a trusted source of mine. Can't talk too much about him, but he has been translating these games since August of 2021. So going into starters, you're going to see Sprigatito turn into Gatora and Linkjabra for a Grass Dark, Fuecoco into Primimaw, and Fugertoro for... Yeah, tell me about it. For Fire Ghost. And Quaxley to Quasimero to a Hiking as a Water Steel type. It's funny because I think the general consensus has been that Fuecoco will be Fire Ghost. Sprigatito is going to be either Grass Dark or Grass Steel. And now Quaxley going to be something between water fighting. And those type combinations have been the ones that have been circulating the most. So I find it funny that even this rumor is still just going with it. And it just feels like it's going to be obvious once they do the full reveal. It's going to be interesting because on top of having to figure out who is an actual leaker versus who just got lucky on the guess, is going to be contingent on all of the other information that they're presenting. But it's going to narrow this. I think we're going to see two huge lists of rumors and people just sifting through them trying to find out which is the right one, which is the one that was legit. As far as the typing goes, I like these typings. I'm kind of on board with them.
I am too. The Fire Ghost thing, like what you said earlier, like I really think that's like a general consensus now. Like everybody's like expecting, or at least all these rumors, like, yep, it's gonna be Fire Ghost. Yep, it's gonna be Fire Ghost for Coco's line, and it's like, okay, you know what? Fine. If it's Fire Ghost, it's Fire Ghost. I'm cool with that. It's a cool typing. Grass Dark. I really hope it's actually Grass Steel for the Sprigatito line, because like I don't want Grass Dark. It's such a like not great competitive typing. But it's fine too if it turns out Grass Dark. It's just that I would rather have another Grass Steel type. And for like the Quaxley line as well, Water Steel. Was it? It's either Water Steel or Water Fighting, right? That they said it might be.
Yeah.
I'm down for either or.
See, I'm still down for my Grass Dark type. I want it. I want my non-legendary Grass Dark type.
That is also true, because the other Grass Dark type we had was the mythical, and it was...
Yeah. But I kind of want to see where they go with this one. I mean, Grass Dark typing is weak, but if it's on a fast Pokemon, it isn't so bad. I think that was the problem with the other one, is that it wasn't as fast. Plus, again, it's a mythical, so you know, good luck seeing that one competitive very often.
True that.
The next part of this says Founding Fathers in quotation marks. 8 legendary Pokemon plus 3 hidden trio plus a singular. So 12 in Gen 9. That is a lot of Pokemon in my opinion. But they do go into some detail here. So in Scarlet, you're going to get Arcados, which is a dragon fighting. In Violet, you're going to get Martyr-Velox, which is a dragon electric. And then Cerbelicious, a dragon question mark. Then you have Tolometa, which is sky, unknown types. Galagart, earth, which is also unknown. You have Plusculus, visible horizon, types unknown. Ultraculus, further horizon with types unknown. And then another one here says, can't find any name, hidden light, types unknown. There's some typical typings here. You know, mythical creature, so you're going to get dragons this time. Fighting and electric, so and then fighting questionable. As for the rest of them, I'm not entirely sure how I feel, given that they're so limited in information. But it feels like we're going to see a split again, where only certain legendaries are going to be in one version and other legendaries are going to be in another version. To me,
I never really found any problems with that game wise, if that makes sense. Because like it's just another way for them to like add multiple Pokemon to a game, right? And also to like for people to pick up both copies, depending, or find people that has the other copy that they don't have. But it does seem kind of weird a little bit having it as type unknown. I kind of understand like for as a rumor video as well, or in general it kind of gives that mystery to like kind of give like, oh yeah, this is credible, right? But it's like if you don't know it, it's just kind of hard to stuff. I feel like maybe they shouldn't even like mention that part this is types unknown. It's been a while since we had like the main legendaries be like all dragon types, which is pretty cool in my opinion. No, not yeah, all dragon types, right? The main ones. Yeah. Because Black and White, I think, was the last one I can think of, and I love that portion. I mean, we had like Reshiram, Zekrom, and then there was the whole like Qram thing, and they were all dragons, and I'm like, yes. So I was thinking, oh, this could be like a cool like reference or nod to like Gen 5 in general, which could also be another factor playing into the whole Scarlet Violet, or maybe possible Legends game, Legends Unova. Please, GameFreak, Pokemon Company, make it happen.
Well, I mean, Gen 5 would actually fall inside of the Gen 9 window. So throwing a nod to Gen 5 actually is pretty plausible.
Other thing I have to say, Arcatardis, Dragon Fighting. I hope he's better than Como. I mean, Como is good to a point, but then it's not. It just dies real fast, especially now with Fairy typing. Or especially with Fairy typing, I should say. For some odd reason as well, like I'm really focusing just on the first three that were mentioned, only because like the other ones I can't really put like a finger on. But I am getting like that Basilisk and Cockatrice vibe that we were talking about in a different rumor before. Like that's what I'm getting from reading these two names for the Scarlet and Violet mascot, and then Cerbelicus. I'm thinking Cerberus. Like just from reading its name, that's the first thing that pops into my mind. And if that's like the third legendary, so to speak, for the trio, I think it'd be kind of cool to see those three like in general, like a Basilisk, a Cockatrice, and a Cerberus kind of Pokemon.
Like a three-headed dragon.
Yeah, like another three-headed dragon, or or if they actually make it into a dog and it's just dragon typing, I guess that's fine too. I have no problems with that either.
I'd kind of want to see how that design would look. Moving on, under plot, it has Region, Ventor, 2 schools, Orange and Grape Shields. Unlockable crafting tools, Poke Helpers, 5 during your adventure. 138 new Pokemon. Scarlet has the King of Ventor, Persis. Violet is the Queen of Ventor, Andromeda. Landmarks, Uncomplete Unordered, Leolstrol Town, Templar Town, Gigalima City, Perafleur Town, Novawall City. I'm actually digging how they decided to split this so hard between version 1 and version 2. And if you think about it, it would really make the appeal of why you want to grab both copies. Especially if you're looking at completely different story characters, which I don't think Game Freak has done since Gen 3?
With like the evil teams, or?
Yeah, because remember, you had Team Aqua and Team Magma, and depending on which version you grabbed, you got a different team. And I don't think Pokemon has done that since. So seeing this rumor split the region like that again, to me, is appealing. And it's honestly an argument for getting both copies. Because even though you'll get a very similar storyline, you'll get to see different characters.
I think it's a good thing, too. Especially if it is the case, because like just reading it off from the 2 schools, the person even went to go as far as like saying Orange and Grape Shields, which is a really nice fact, because those 2 colors are kind of like they share the like spectrum with like Scarlet and Violet in general, right? Like Orange is closer to like Scarlet because it's like a reddish color, and this is like a it's within that, and then Grape being Grape is very similar in color to Violet. But yeah, I think having a different characters thing would be really neat, because when you think about it too, like you were saying, even having the similar story but with different characters, you get to see the different personality, which gives it a little bit of a refreshing and different taste to the story, which would be pretty cool, especially since like this one also includes having like Scarlet has a king and then Violet has a queen. Granted, they don't both show up in both games in like a very minor portion for the other person, but that would be pretty cool.
There's something that's also popping out to me. The orange and grape. If you remember the teaser trailer that they dropped on Pokemon Day, next to the door, there is literally a shield with oranges on it and another shield with grapes on it. So either this is a legit thing or somebody was really paying attention and remembered that little tidbit and decided to throw it into a rumor. So food for thought.
When you said that was on the reveal trailer, that was like during the part before like the guy found the starters, or
it
was
was it was towards the end. They show a door, and on the door on the one side is a shield, and if you look at the emblem on the shield, it's oranges, and then on the opposite side, it's an emblem of grapes.
Okay.
But the thing that's sticking out to me, that I'm noticing, is you mentioned before the Cerberus dragon. Okay. That's Greek mythology. But then look at the names of the king and the queen. Perseus and Andromeda. Zeus and Andromeda.
I think is where you're going here.
There's a heavy Greek influence here, and not typical of Spain as far as I know of, but it isn't the first time that Nintendo has dumped side characters or, story characters that were kind of hints to what the next game is going to be. So if this turns out to be a legitimate rumor, then we may be looking at potentially Greece being the next Pokemon generation.
Oh, or DLC.
Maybe.
Because like when I think about it, like with the region itself, it's based, or at least it seems to be based on like Spain, right? Everybody agrees that it's like kind of based on like Spain or something, right? Spain, the region. So like Spain. And when I think Spain, I think Italy. And then when I think Italy, I think Rome. And when I think Rome, all the whole Roman and Greek like influences from that. So it's like,
It wouldn't be a stretch, really.
Yeah.
Let's see here. The next part of this. Evil team is Team Hook. Old style in Scarlet, modern style in Violet. Boss is a sailor, Lucio. Water team as expected. Your rival is you from the other school. Generic rival, in my opinion.
Okay.
And the main villain is missing, yet not Lucio. Your goal at these games is to get the 18 gym badges, one per type, before the Pokemon League in Lestrol City. I guess none of you were expecting this. So, Evil Team. Let's start with that. The Evil Team and the rival. All right. Team Hook. Considering the Iberian Peninsula, you've got literally a lot of water on both sides of the area. I mean, the definition of peninsula is surrounded almost completely by water. So yeah. The hook thing kind of makes sense. There's always been the speculation that I've seen Ruffle Rowlet do. There's a speculation that Scarlet is going to be more of a classical era of the game, whereas Violet would be more modernized. There's going to be like two different almost time periods taking place of the game, even though these games should, in theory, be taking place at the same time, if that makes any sense. Which, to me, kind of starts leaning more into the whole, they're trying to do a alternate dimensions, separate universes, whatever you want to call it. It's something that they've been doing since the Delta episode, where they're talking about how a mirror world would have evolved almost exactly the same way as the current one, except it wouldn't have A, B, or C. In this case, you would have a similar world, but instead of modernizing, one stayed more in the traditional classic era. It would be similar, like if you were to visit Puerto Rico and you go to Old San Juan, you still have the old cobblestone streets, the old ways of having buildings. But then you go a mile up the road and you've got this new designed city-type structure that's more modern, and everything is, the streets are nicely paved and everything. It's literally like walking between two time periods in such a short amount of time. It's really hard to describe, but when you actually experience it, you definitely understand what I'm trying to get at.
I think I have an inkling of what you're talking about, though. Like, I'm just imagining myself like, oh, this is this portion, and then as soon as I take a step, this is this portion. Like that's how I'm taking your example. But I can see where you're going with this, because Pokemon has already delved into like kind of like a multiverse kind of thing already, right? Like I think starting with like mega evolutions in general, so like Gen 6, so like what you're saying with the Delta episode and whatnot. So like I wouldn't put it past them to actually take that risk, or so to speak, to actually do that. The whole like one game seems to be in like a little bit of an olden style, and then the other game seems to be a little bit more modernized. That would also give reason to buy both games as well, like
Yeah.
just like how it is.
I mean, as far as resources, skinning and stuff like that, if the buildings are similar in shape, then it wouldn't take too much to do an overlay to modernize it, a texture overlay to modernize the same cities. But if you're talking about a full change from A to B, that's a lot of work and a lot of resources, and it puts a question in my mind if GameFreak would actually do that for a Pokemon game, even splitting it in half.
Because it's true as well. Like they have done something similar in their games, right? Where they do have like those version exclusive like characters or places. So like I think just recently for like Sword and Shield, right? We have the gym leaders, Bea and Alistair, right? They're different depending on which game you get. You also have like your quote unquote Isle of Armor rivals, where it's either, oh my god, I forgot their names. It's either the psychic guy or the poison girl. Can't believe I forgot their names. And then like going even further back is like another Gen 5 nod, which is the cities that you find. I forgot which numbered city that is, or it had a gym in it, but it's either like White City or Black City, depending on which game you have. Which also
the Black Forest or the White City, yeah.
Yeah, and then it also gives off like a different vibe as well. So even if they do it in a way where maybe it's a certain town, or like what you're saying, maybe like if the buildings are super similar but there's just like some slight changes, I feel like they can do it for sure. They can definitely do it.
I totally had forgotten what they did that, and that was Gen 5. Oh man, if this okay, you know what? I'm going to say this right now. If this rumor turns out to be real, then good on you, Game Freak, for really throwing those old little Gen 5 tidbits into the game. If this turns out to be, if this rumor is fake, I applaud the writer, because they really did do a lot of due diligence and put a lot of little nods to Gen 5 in here, little seeds. Yeah. So I have to admit they did it. This is I like this rumor. Fake or not, I do like this one.
Yeah, definitely want a lot of thought, a little bit put into it. Yeah.
The last part, though, I mean, the main villain is missing, so I mean, there's nothing really to talk about there, and it wouldn't be the first time you've had a puppet master pulling strings on the evil team.
Get sis.
Lusamine. Yeah, see, yeah. Chairman Rose, the Memo lookalike.
Bro, you have to admit, Memo, if you're watching this, you have to admit, people probably would have thought, hey, that looks like Memo. I'm not gonna lie. I also thought kind of the same thing. He had the same facial hair.
I actually was wondering if Memo was secretly contacted by the Pokemon Company to get likeness rights, because Memo was doing stuff before that announcement dropped. But this last part, you have to get 18 gym badges. Okay. First off, I know this was something that a lot of people were hoping for in Gen 8. I don't know how feasible it is for Gen 9. When you're talking about an open world, you're still talking about a lot of rendering. You've got draw distance. 8 badges, I can see, unless they've changed the algorithm where the compression rates for all the materials inside of the game have been reworked so that they work better, or if they're using the higher memory chips. I don't see 18 gems, and this is where the whole rumor falls apart for me. But I mean, it would be an interesting twist, but I just don't see it.
Yeah, like I would definitely enjoy it if they did have a single gym for each typing, because that would just make the game a lot bigger. My only problem is if they do something like that, like what is the leveling scale of like the game gonna be? Because if you have like 18 gyms, you're gonna have to think of like what level Pokemon everybody like should be at before fighting that gym, right? Granted, they do something like maybe the first 9 is up to like level 40, 50-ish or something, and then post game is like another 9 gyms or something, like, and then those ones are like all set at like maybe like 70 plus or something, or 60 plus or something. it seems really hard to do. Like, I would love it for sure, because everybody's been asking for like a dual region game or like 16 badges kind of thing to happen again, like in Gen 2. So if they can make it happen, all the power to them.
It would be interesting that the first 8 gyms and then the story, and that's the conclusion, and the other 8 gyms plus the Pokemon League are actually post game. That would be different.
That would be different, yeah.
That would
I think that would
be
also be, because it's like that's how it is, right? Like in a Pokemon game, like the league is always part of the story in some way. Like you have to either beat it already, or it's just on your way to beating the game. Like if they had it where like it's not, and it's like actual post game stuff, and like the main story is actually revolved around like just the villains and stuff, or something similar, and then you get the end credit scene, then that would also be good.
I think the closest we came to that was Gen 7 with Alola, with there not being a Pokemon League initially, and you're doing island challenges, but eventually it all led back to the Pokemon League, and then by becoming champion, you beat the game. But having that aspect as post game, I think would be interesting, would be refreshing, and it wouldn't put so much emphasis on you must become the champion. You're 10 years old and you're going on a route. You're expecting to beat somebody who's had 10, 15 years of experience at being a trainer. The story worked well the first time, and it's only gotten blander since because it is the exact same story when you break it down to basics. So changing it up a little bit, I'm all for.
That was the other thing I wanted to mention too. The region name Venter, it kind of sounds like venture, right? Like maybe it is a play on words or something to venture, and it's like, you know what? That's a region name that makes a lot of sense, because for it being like its first like mainline open world game, venturing through it. Oh man.
Yeah, but you're also the pun guy in the group, so. Who doesn't appreciate a good pun?
I totally skipped over it, if anything. The 138 new Pokemon thing, that is a lot. That's a lot of new Pokemon.
Yeah, that is. I totally skipped over that too. But yeah, like, 138 Pokemon, that's nuts.
That's very... Like, I mean, granted, like, maybe the regional variants, if there are going to be any, which, let's be real here, Pokemon Company would not be making a smart move. They don't include regional variants from now on. Like, if those are included, then okay, fine. You know, that eases up on the number a little bit. I think we talked about this in like another video before too, right? Like I think we're thinking like 30 something regional variants and like 60 something brand new Pokemon. But
those are Quadaluna rumor.
Yeah. I mean, 138 new Pokemon, like I welcome it. That just gets us ever so closer to the 1,000 Pokemon mark, and I mean, it just goes to show like they're not running out of ideas yet. Hopefully.
Well, I mean, I've already expressed my feelings about that particular concept of over 100 Pokemon in a new game. It's a beef of mine. I'm not going to get back into it. If you guys want to hear my thoughts on it, please feel free to go ahead and click on that Quadaluna rumor that was posted, and you'll hear it there. But I'm just so meh about 138. And again, if we're including regional variants, okay, I can live with it. But if we're not talking about regional variants, then there's a problem. And with that, we're closing out this rumor. Hopefully you all enjoyed. What are your thoughts on the rumor that we found? What do you think about the 138 Pokemon? The names for some of them, and I know I butchered them and I apologize, but the typing seemed kind of cool. Let us know what you think. Make sure to share, like, and subscribe, and let us know how we're doing. And we will see you for the next episode. Bye!
Bye!